For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson. Fresh off his live Netflix special Woke Folk, Katt Williams has returned to social media with yet another message for any of his critics, seemingly shading both Kevin Hart and Lil Rel. On Tuesday, the comedian would take to Instagram with two separate posts aimed at both of his peers. Katt's first post was composed of several photos and video from the Netflix is a Joke brunch that took place a few weeks ago, where the top comedians in the world were all in the same place at the same time. In his own post, Katt would feature pictures of himself posing with Ted Sarandos, the Netflix CEO, and fellow comedians Miss Pat, Rob Lowe, Dave Chappelle, and Sinbad. Now, when pictures of the brunch were initially shared on social media weeks ago, fans were quick to notice both Katt Williams and Kevin Hart were present, although, as expected, the two were not seen together. Going back to earlier this month, Tiffany Haddish was a guest on The Breakfast Club promoting her book, I Curse You With Joy, where she confirmed that both Katt and Kevin came to the Netflix brunch. However, once Kevin arrived, no one could find Katt. To go along with the collage of photos, Katt would write a caption, "After Katt leaves, you can pull up." This, of course, would be in direct reference to Haddish's interview with The Breakfast Club and a subliminal message to Hart. One user would comment on Katt's post and write, "Tiffany Haddish tried to imply Katt Williams was at this event moving around and conversing, but when Kevin Hart arrived, he was gone and couldn't be found. We know Katt Williams ain't never ducking that smoke." Another social media user would agree and chime in, "LOL, Haddish made it seem like you left because Kevin Hart pulled up." Katt would then use Cedric the Entertainer as the cover art for his next Instagram post, throwing even more shade towards the people he mentioned in his record-breaking interview with Shannon Sharpe on Club Shay Shay. The picture comes from Cedric's comedy contest, Comedy Pays, where he awards an up-and-coming comedian $1,000. Two pieces of media were used. The first, a brief clip of the Netflix is a Joke brunch, which shows Lil Rel walking right past Katt Williams. The second is a photo of D Nice alongside Lil Rel from an event that took place over the weekend. When D Nice shared the photo on his own Instagram, fans of the DJ would run to the comments section of the post concerned over Lil Rel's drastic weight loss. Katt's caption read, "Keep him lifted in prayer while you can." And he will use Kendrick Lamar's summer hit, Not Like Us, as a music choice for the post. When a follower on Katt's page had trouble deciphering the meaning of Katt's post, another social media user would comment and explain. They wrote, "I believe Lil Rel said he was going to say something to Katt when he sees him, and Katt was standing there with the white on, and Lil Rel just politely walked past like he didn't see him. So, Lil Rel was just capping on Club Shay Shay." The rivalry between Katt Williams and Lil Rel isn't showing any signs of slowing down, as the two continue to call each other out on public platforms. Katt's beef with Kevin Hart runs even longer. Joining me is our very own Danielle Miller to discuss this topic in more detail. Now, Danielle, before we dive into this conversation, I want to kind of catch some of our audience members up, because as I said, we've seen this go back and forth for a while. So let's look at some of the things that both Katt Williams and Kevin Hart had to say about one another. Let's take a look.
Because they're going to let you do your special, Gerard Carmichael, but nobody's going to watch it. They're going to let you be a star, Lil Rel, but you ugly. And white people don't believe in ugly stars. They think you have to be somebody that women want to sleep with and men want to be. We black, they say, oh, you don't even deserve that. So you get Kevin Hart, Lil Rel, Gerard Carmichael, dudes that no woman would talk to in Lenox Mall, let alone you making them movie stars. Ain't nobody gonna sleep with them. You only got Tiffany Haddish. You can't tell me your favorite Tiffany Haddish joke. Why? Because she ain't done a tour yet. She has not proven the ability to tell jokes back to back for an hour, and they already ready to down Monique and up somebody who has showed them Girls Trip. Do you think that was already a script and they handed it to her? It's up to you, whatever you want to believe.
My frustration with Katt Williams comes from, you keep pointing at Hollywood. Hollywood this, the white man. When do you take responsibility for your actions? You had the shot. You were set up to be the star. You didn't show up to work. You became a risk to the studios, which is why the studios stopped fucking with you.
Why was he a risk?
He chose drugs. Take responsibility for what you chose and say, you know what? I got to fix me, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to stand up for comedy. So when you say Tiffany Haddish, doesn't deserve or isn't really a comedian, and these other women have worked hard, which they have. Shouts out to Lunel. Shouts out to Leslie Jones, who are all underneath the umbrella of Katt Williams. Katt Williams, have you ever used your platform to fucking bring the people that were under you up? You haven't. So because you haven't, don't shit on those that now are.
Now, Danielle, I had to put my glasses on to make sure I could see everything clearly as we have this conversation. I want to talk to you first about recent times, what we're seeing. Katt would subliminally call out Kevin Hart as well as Lil Rel. What was your reaction to seeing that and reading his caption to it?
That's it. That was the reaction for true. It was like, Katt is like this. He always seems to be picking a beef with somebody. And I know it's our entertainment, right? But it seems like these beef is beef held for so long. Like, this has been going on for years. And it's like every time some little thing happens and he feels like he jumps on it, he brings it to the internet. And to me, at this point, it's just getting really dry out. Like, are you going to finally have a conversation with these men? If you're not going to, then bro, dog, leave it alone. Just like let it go.
No, great point. So let me get your thoughts then. What about seeing something with Katt and Kevin? You know, do you think people want to see that? And if not, why do you think so? What's the difference there for you?
No. I think sorry. And Katt, don't come for me. I'm just being very honest. I think if we were talking about Katt Williams from like 2004, 2002, and that Kevin Hart from those same years, then yeah, I could see where them two can work. But where they are individually right now in their lives, Katt is sort of still like the urban comedian, and Kevin is more so the corporate comedian. I don't see them two ever mixing. That's just my personal opinion, and I don't believe it within me that it would even work if them two come together in that.
Absolutely. Now, something you mentioned earlier about, still loving to see them maybe, on an awards or just some type of platform, maybe not something where it's like a movie or something, but being able to see them come together, whether it's for a conversation, award show, or what have you. Do you think if they decide, because given the time that all this has happened publicly, right, we've seen this unfold, fans have become invested in this. Do you think that either A, they need to publicly squash it and let it go in public, or B, do you think they should have a public conversation? Do you think those things should take place, and if so, should it happen in public?
I think what would be suffice is them just squashing it publicly because they brought it to the public. That's the only reason why I would say you have to squash it publicly and then just move on. If y'all two happen to end up on a stage together, I think it would be great banter, great comedy. And that's it. I don't think they need a sit down conversation to hash out for us saying, what happened. I don't think that we need that. I think we just need a public, okay, we're good now. We're on solid terms. I love him. And that's it. Yeah.
You know what I would love to see? I know Netflix is starting to bring back that roast thing we used to see on Comic View. We just saw it with Tom Brady. I would love to see them all on a roast, because at the end of the day, you all are comedians, whatever frustrations or things you typically feel, you typically handle it on stage or in some type of joke form. I would love to see all them in that form of content or in that dynamic where it's just something fun, light, cool, get out your punches that you need to get out and then let it go. Let's all move on.
Friend. No. That could take one good 10 years because if me and you just squash a beef, right? And we do a roast maybe a year or two from now, and you roasting me like how hard they roast each other, I might feel like, hold on now, you've been holding this in for me for a little while, and it might reignite some things, right? So you gotta let them really blow that off, really blow it off, meet up with each other a couple times, have some drinks, attend a brunch or two together, and then move into a roast. Yeah, that can't come off the bat just like that. They can fight.
Oh, you know me. I just feel like I don't feel like if you're not, physically hurting me, then just some things just aren't that serious, And granted, we don't know, and I think that's the thing. We just don't know what's going on behind closed doors, what's happening with them behind closed doors. So I do agree that obviously it must be serious enough for it to be happening this long, for it to feel like I have to publicly say something. So you might be right, friend. You might be right. I guess I'll have to wait for my roast and we'll see what happens later down the line. But I do think publicly, though, I do think it's time to let it go. You know, I think just for the public, whatever you have going on behind closed doors, you know, handle it as you see fit. But it's just kind of like what we saw with Kendrick Lamar and Drake. You know, it got up to a point where people were like, all right, wait a second, hold on. Like, I was liking it at first, but now I'm like, hey, can we all relax? Let's take a chill pill. So yeah, I would love to hopefully see things just let go.
I will say this though. Let me ask this question. I haven't seen Kevin Hart really speak on this.
But I don't know, Danielle, because if you think about it, remember when Katt Williams wanted to do the verses with Kevin Hart, where we're not necessarily going back and forth at each other, but we're able to kind of go joke and let the audience decide, because that's what the conversation has been. Who's funnier between Katt Williams and Kevin Hart? And even when we talk about beefs, let's look at Kevin Hart and Mike Epps. They had a beef and now they're coming together to do Comic View. So I feel like it's definitely possible. It may take, you know, a lot of maturity, a lot of sitting down, a lot of conversations like you had. But I think it would be beneficial because we've seen this publicly for so long that people are getting tired of it. So let's do something with all that energy that we built up for the years. Let's impact the industry more. Let's show like, hey, I don't have to like you. You know what I'm saying? But we can come together for the greater good and make something out of the moments that we created for years and years and years.
Yeah. Kevin Hart's business sense is way more mature. I'm gonna say that word, mature, because I like how that sounds. Than Katt at this present time, because I even haven't seen Kevin mention it as much. Katt Williams to me is sort of coming off very Monique-ish. I'm sorry, Monique, with the whole Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry situation. It's like every time they harp down on that. So it sort of makes it hard for me to even have any empathy for you or what's going on, even if Kevin did something out of the way, even if Rel did something out of the way, because Kevin is not mentioning it as much because he understands the business side of things. And I think that's one of the main reasons why he's not giving it any energy. He isn't trying to really face Katt Williams right now. It's not because, in my opinion, it's more so because he understands that he has a lot to do. So if we can't sit this out and hash this out man to man, then it's best for me not to mention it and keep it pushing.
Yeah. I think either way, it's definitely, I hope it's time to let it go because I just don't want to see it get any worse from here. But as always, Danielle, thank you for providing the beautiful views, amazing outtakes and intakes on this topic. I appreciate you very much. But you guys have heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What do you guys think of Katt's earlier post that seemingly shade both Kevin Hart and Lil Rel? Let us know in the comments below. For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Comedy got more beats than hip hop now.
Did y'all enjoy that? We got so much more for you at hypersclub.com. Our exclusive interviews and backstage content gives you the chance to feel a part of the club. Come on and join.